Welcome back, everyone. Today we have some exciting investment opportunities. For the past 20 years, ever since our inception from our network, I've never been so excited to present what's going on. My co-host today is Mr. Richard Advani. How are you, Richard?
Doing excellent. It's good to be back with you.
Tremendous opportunity. So let's quickly dive into it. The best real estate markets for investors for 2025 and beyond. Forget about sexy housing markets you've been hearing from mainstream media. What we got for you is real estate is absolute gold mine, is small town USA. We gotta talk high level today between Richard and I. It's emerging markets, boomtown. You gotta get in first. First come, first serve. We are investing into commuter towns. We're investing into rural towns. We are getting into build in the underserved of America. We are focusing on markets that have anywhere from 10,000 people to 100,000 people in population and growing by leaps and bounds. Typically 1 hour from major metros. Most of these are in the South and Southeast. Some in the Midwest. Home prices we're presenting is 50% below the nationwide median, which is around 400K. We are promoting affordable homes, entry-level homes for our investors to cash flow with 20 to 25% down payment. Job and population growth, expanding universities, new infrastructure, close to military installations, major employers coming into town, major manufacturing plants, high-tech hub, data centers bringing potentially thousands of jobs. And we're focusing on 1 to 4 new construction unit, good rental market. With that in mind, that's what we're going to show you. So now Richard going to go over the map of today's presentation. Richard Advani, you are the turnkey provider for these great markets. Take it away, Richard. This is very exciting.
Thanks, Ewing, and nice to be back with everyone. As a lot of you are aware from the webinar we did 3 or 4 months ago, I talked about Oklahoma and the opportunities available in the state, but how I was in the process of moving to Oklahoma myself, partnering with a builder developer who I've got a 12 to 15-year history with. Fast forward to today, I live split time between California and Oklahoma. And I got to say, Oklahoma has been growing on my wife and my 2-year-old daughter. But in being there now and part of the operations, I've helped expand some of the current models that we were employing, but we've also started developing new models as well. The amount of inventory we have available or coming to Oklahoma that's already available is really astounding. And what's really cool about what we're doing in Oklahoma is we're really building every aspect, the whole range or spectrum of product out there, from super affordable $150,000 homes to $350,000 A-class homes and A-class neighborhoods. Everything that we offer is brand new construction, and we build everything with the same quality throughout, whether it's a $150,000 cottage, as we fondly like to call them, or our A-class asset. And what's interesting, and Seawing touched on some of it, we're building everything from homes in the metros that generate a lower cash flow, but they're A-class assets and A-class neighborhoods with the best school districts. On top of that, we're building commuter homes that are located 15 to 30, 45 minutes outside of the metro. Akin it for people who live in Southern California, right? A lot of people ask me, what are some of the drivers and economics in these metros or rather in these commuter towns? Shea, for example, is about 30 to 40 minutes outside of OKC Metro. I akin it to those of us in SoCal is like Pasadena, right? What's the business in Pasadena? Nothing. It's a great place to live. What's the business in Manhattan Beach? I'm not saying they don't have drivers and larger businesses, but most people who live in those areas commute to those areas, right? Because they're good places to live. For example, looking at the Inland Empire in Southern California, people are willing to commute. On California, people are willing to commute 2 or 3 hours each way to save a buck. In Oklahoma, in the last 5 or 6 years, especially since COVID, rents in the metro have gone up sharply, as well as home prices. Hey, I have to, live outside Oklahoma City Metro for affordability. We're seeing a boom in these towns across Oklahoma City, northern and southern in the state, that are seeing this boom because of work from home, but also affordability crunch. To save 30, 35, 40% in rent or in a mortgage payment, people are definitely willing to commute. And it's evident living there now, seeing the traffic leaving the metro, heading to commuter towns. In addition, we have 6 models, which is exciting. Seawing and I are going to do is we're going to break this up to a 5 or 6 part series where each series we're going to dive into a specific market that we're offering, but also the specific model within the market. We're doing a lot in Lawton, which is a military town, and that also has its growth and upside. We're also serving super rural markets. One of the markets, for example, at the top of Oklahoma, about 50, 60 miles from the northern border, is called Blackwell. Now, Blackwell's only a town of about 5,000 people. They shoot Westerns there, really small town. If you look at the growth in Blackwell over the last 10 years, there hasn't been tons of growth. The median income has gone up 2 to 2.5 times. But there hasn't been a new home build or a new home builder come into those towns in 20 years, 30 years, sometimes 40 years. As a home builder, most of the time, it doesn't pencil out to build 10 or 15 homes a year, which is probably what they'll support. Our plan isn't going into these towns to build 20, 30 homes a year. Each one of these individual towns is going to have its capacity on what it could support on an annual basis. And a lot of that intelligence we're getting is from the municipality. We're sitting down with the mayors. We're sitting down with the city planners. We're sitting down with the larger businesses in town, finding out what the immediate housing needs are, building, renting, and then offering them for sale to investors. What we've seen is the demand for this affordable, newer, fresh, open layout. This product we're offering is huge, not only from the homeowner aspect, but from the tenant aspect. What we hear very often in these areas is that tenant never expected to find this type of inventory in town. I use Blackwell as an example because it's the furthest out town we're working in. It's about an hour and 30 minutes from OKC Metro, maybe an hour 45. No one's doing that drive for commute to OKC, right? That's not drawing on the Metro for employment, not a commuter town, that rural underserved base. So if you look at the 6 to 10 million home shortage in America, unfortunately, it's in these towns of 5, 7, 10, 15, 20,000 people across the country, not only in Oklahoma. It's not in the metros, right? It's not in Orlando. It's not in Southern California. It's not in Austin, Texas. A lot of those places are cooling right now, but you still hear headlines about housing demand, the shortage. Where are they? They're in places like Blackwell, Oklahoma. They're in these small towns. And it does beg the question after visiting these towns and sitting down with these city leaders and municipalities is, what comes first, housing or businesses? What I've seen is not only the businesses, some of these school districts can get teachers to retain contracts because when the schools are built, teachers can't find anywhere to live. And they don't want to live in a rundown shack built in the 30s. They want something nicer and newer. And what we're seeing is as we're starting to do some investment in these communities, you're going to see businesses start coming in. Some of them have been approaching us saying, hey, we noticed you built 8 homes here, 10 homes here. We're considering bringing a business opportunity here, but our concern till now has been housing. Getting those direct lines of communication has been awesome. And as you can imagine, the cities, the ones that we call our salespeople at that, they start proactively now reaching back out to those businesses that may have reached out to them in the past. And they're saying, guess what? Remember you wanted to come, but housing was an issue. We have a builder that can solve that problem. If you're interested in coming back, maybe we can schedule a meeting. So that's the level of intel we're getting. Once again, we're transforming some of these areas, but we're building pockets of them. Blackwell may take 10 or 12 a year. Chickasha 25 at Guthrie may be able to take 60 a year. What's cool is I'm going to get closer to my mouse and go through this map to give you a broad idea of what we have going on. And once again, as time goes on, Steve and I are going to get more specific. We're going to do more segments of specific markets that we're covering. And each model right here, if you see with the mouse that I'm circling there, you have the OKC Metro, right? And that is Oklahoma City. The Oklahoma City Metro is 1.25 to 1.5 million people. It's within the top 20 metros in the country. Kansas City gets all the love and all the sex appeal for some reason. But and I'll have this graph next time, but if you look at the 10-year growth of Oklahoma City's outgrown Kansas City. Oklahoma City Metro is growing dramatically. And the community, the municipalities bring a lot of money into it, as well as the private sector. They are on schedule to get the tallest building in the United States. Yes, you heard me. Tallest building in the United States coming to Oklahoma City. There's tons of development in downtown. There's a river walk with businesses, restaurants, and arcades like San Antonio. They're modeling after what Chicago's done with the river. The Canadian River runs through downtown Oklahoma. They've got a water sports park built onto it, and they're doing a lot of development to make it nicer. I started spending time in downtown Oklahoma. I'm not a city guy, and much to my wife's surprise, she mentioned as we're driving down there that she never thought in a million years would she be going to a downtown with me to hang out with our daughter and get lunch. But it's clean, no bums. You can get parking. It's $15 valet at the nicest hotel in town. We walk to the free botanical gardens. I saw a merry-go-round there. I'm like, oh my God, my 2-year-old's never been on a merry-go-round. I'm going to put her on a merry-go-round. I walk up, no one in line, one kid on it. Guess how much it was? $3 to run on the merry-go-round. I'm like, man, if I was in Santa Monica, it'd be $20, $40. I would have paid $40 just to park. And then my car would have got broken into. On that note, Oklahoma now is the home to the Santa Monica Ferris wheel permanently. Tons of growth in the Oklahoma City metro, right? And that includes Norman, Edmond, Mustang, Yukon, and all these places that I bought in the last 10 years and 6 years and 8 years ago. The problem, once again, as we talked about earlier, is you can't buy in those areas anymore. The homes we were buying for 180, 190, 200 are now 300, 320, 330. And although rents have gone up, they don't pencil out for investors. They're hard to break even. However, we are building in the metro as well. We've got some A-class properties at that 350 mark that we're building in Edmond, the highest per capita zip code in the whole state of Oklahoma. Those are only going to generate a 1.5%, 2% cash on cash. But akin that to buying in Irvine, California, A+ school district, A+ asset, A+ area, everything's A+. Once again, you're going to make a 2% cash on cash, which is amazing. Positive cash on cash in an AAA area. We have inventory duplexes available in Yukon, Oklahoma, one of the nicest suburbs, and offer 4% plus, almost 5% cash on cash. A lot of the reason we're able to generate these returns is the seller incentives that we've either are offering or pre-negotiated, free management and or rate buy downs. We're also building a 60 home development, breaking ground in the next couple of weeks in Guthrie. Guthrie's minutes to Edmond, part of the metro. Guthrie's booming and beautiful. I plan on putting more firm roots down in Oklahoma. 17 minutes to Edmond, the nicest, highest per capita zip code in the state, but it also has a lot of growth that hasn't completely exploded yet. Guthrie used to be the capital of Oklahoma City, and it's got this downtown historic district. I think it's the largest historic district in the country. It is something out of a storybook, right? Brick buildings, quaint businesses, cafes, shops. And what's interesting is you go from downtown Oklahoma City, beautiful, clean, and it's busy. But then you go to Guthrie, 18 minutes from Edmond, it's packed. You could barely get a parking spot. There's not one part in Guthrie that doesn't look great. It's just cute, beautiful little town and population of 7,000 or 8,000. There's going to be tons of growth there because we're offering a product to build to rent neighborhood, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes in that 230, 240 range that are going to rent for $1,550 to $1,600 and that are going to generate a 5% cash on cash. Guthrie, mark my words, it's a hidden gem. Guthrie's is going to be even more expensive than a lot of places in the metro because it's a nice place to live, but it's super close to the Trader Joe's and everything in Edmond, which is important to my wife. We're working in Lawton. If you look at down here, you see all the way down here, you've got Lawton. Lawton's the military base where we're doing tons and tons of development, duplexes, single family homes. We're building a neighborhood there as well. I've sold actually every single cottage in Lawton that's available all the way through the middle of next year. It's super popular. See, we mentioned these are first come, first serve. This product is unique. Having a brand new construction asset that can generate these types of returns is unattainable anywhere else in the country. Prove me wrong, right? $150,000 single family home generates 7% cash on cash, brand new at 20% down. Won't find it. Prove me wrong. I'll buy a couple. I like to diversify. In addition to Lawton, we've got Chickasha halfway between Lawton. So we got Lawton here, Chickasha here, and the OKC Metro here. So Chickasha is a big commuter town. People commute to Chickasha from the Metro. It's about a 30 to 45 minute drive, but you can rent a house for about $1,350 a month, whereas that same house in Oklahoma City Metro would be $2,000 to $2,100. That $700 a month, 40% difference. As you can imagine, who's going to drive 40 minutes? Imagine putting it in California terms is the difference between $5,000 a month in rent and $3,000 a month in rent. Are you going to save $2,000 a month in rent and drive 30 minutes? Most of us in California do that. We drive further to save less, but people do. And what's interesting is people actually commute from Lawton to Chickasha. So a lot of military members make the 40-minute drive. So it's 40 minutes, give or take, from Chickasha to the metro. A lot of people make the drive from Lawton to Chickasha because historically there isn't tons of housing in Lawton until what we're doing there now, right? We're giving more affordable options right there. But in the meantime, I bought one and closed on one myself there, and we're building a strip of about 10 of these cottages in Chickasha as well. And those should be done in the next 60 days, give or take. Guthries at the top of the metro, technically part of the OKC metro. I didn't realize that until I Wikipedia'd it. We're going to wrap here in a minute. I wanted to give you a broad idea of what we have going on. Here's Oklahoma City Metro. Here's Guthrie that we're building in. Here's Perry that we're building in as well. Perry's a commuter town to OKC Metro, about 40 minutes out. Perry is home to Ditch Witch. It's a large multi-billion-dollar company that builds construction equipment, underground boring equipment, everything under the sun. They have about 2,000 employees. Ditch Witch is expanding dramatically. The Perry, as we do the Perry video as part of this series, we'll pull up news articles and videos about the expansion happening in Ditch Witch. I just closed on I'm not closed. I wanted a contract on a single family home. We built 3 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $250,000 single families in Perry, really to satisfy the primary home-based demand for employees of Ditch Witch. I walked into one of them like, I love this. I was like, this seems like a great deal. I want to buy one. So I put it under the contract. This one is not going to be sold to a primary home buyer. We want to rent this one. So let's pre-list this. We pre-listed it $100 a month more than $150 more than my bottom line return. Within 24 hours, we got a tenant. Now it's generating almost 8% cash out cash. But huge demand in Perry. We'll talk more about that as well. What you guys will notice is every single market that I'm going to talk about and recommend, I bought in first. I'm testing it first. That way I can speak from experience. We move up from Perry all the way up here, not listed, there's Blackwell, right? That town I mentioned that is severely underserved. We are doing stuff in Kingfisher. We're doing stuff in Stillwater. We're not offering those to investors yet. We're still testing those markets. We're also doing things in smaller towns like Kingfisher. We're not going to be doing webinars on those towns yet because there would be a need for a 10-part series. Another exciting thing to announce is we do have inventory outside of Tulsa now, expanding to the eastern part of the state. I'm working with a developer. Those aren't items that we're building, but I have been establishing relationships with builders for off-market properties, new construction that kind of meet our criteria. And what's cool is we'll be coming up with some amazing inventory generating returns that typically you can't find. We're working in a suburb of Tulsa called Wagner, which is about a 35-minute drive. Duplexes, they're for sale in the high 380 range, and they generate a 5% cash on cash. Brand new construction, fully occupied. All are completely occupied. You can see, you could probably understand why I moved to Oklahoma, but also why I'm so excited about there's so much opportunity and there's so much going on. We're building in 6, 7, 8 different cities. There's tons and tons of growth happening. Oklahoma's the 5th most affordable place in the country. You can buy a home in an A-class neighborhood in that 350 range, as I told you, right? Akin that to being able to buy in Irvine or a nice suburb of Los Angeles and Pasadena for $400,000. You can't do that anymore. And what's happened to every state around Oklahoma, when you look at Texas, Idaho, Colorado, every single other state around, it's exploded. Look at what's happened in Florida, where not only property values are and taxes, but what's happened with insurance. People are looking for affordability. That is what's pushed the migration trends and made all these other states explode. Texas has become less affordable with property tax. Florida's become less affordable. Colorado, everywhere's become California again in terms of prices. It's not a secret. We all know that. Look at Boise, Meridian, Idaho, Boulder. Oklahoma's almost in the center, it's a mass transportation hub. And that's why a lot of businesses have continued to establish themselves in Oklahoma City, and why it continues to grow is business friendly. It's super affordable and it's really nice. I live in a very nice area and home in Southern California. I've been spending more time in Oklahoma versus California. I still have my houses here. And when I come home, as much as I love my home, when I come home to California as a whole, I'm like, Oklahoma more, right? In California, I don't really leave my home. It's crowded everywhere. It's busy, it's dirty, whatever. I don't leave my house. In Oklahoma, I want to go out. I want to go to the parks. I want to go to the museum. I want to go to the downtown. I want to explore these little towns, not just because it's new. It's because for me, at least, I don't mind urban cities, but they have to be clean and not completely crowded. Oklahoma's been really good so far. It's become a big part of my life and business. I've got at least a 10-year commitment there, if not longer. But I don't know, man, the more time that goes on, I see myself I'm like, oh no, it's time to go back to California. I'm enjoying my time and how beautiful it is. Right now, it's the change in seasons. Leaves are changing. Everyone doesn't have an idea what Oklahoma's like. You drive on the highways out of the city, trees, beautiful trees, rolling hills, not a lot of mountains. You can see super far. It's been amazing. I look forward to going into more detail on each one of these, not only cities, but sub strategies within Oklahoma City. We're building in the metro. We're building commuter towns outside the metro. We're building military strategy, underserved rural America strategy. On top of that, we've got Airbnb, which we haven't even talked about, I've been testing in various cities that we're working as explosive response, booking out 90% occupancy within 30 days of listing a property. I've been doing Airbnb for 10 years. I've got multiple properties in California. Never seen anything like it. We're not bringing that to you guys yet because we're trying to test more of it, but it seems like the more time I spend and look into opportunities that may be exhausted in areas we all live in or in Florida or in wherever, right? Airbnb saturated. I have a Turo rental car business in California. I've got 35 cars. I looked at competition for Turo. It's nothing. I'm starting to test and maybe move some of my fleet or establish operation over there for this opportunity. The cost of entry to participate, for example, are 150,000 new construction homes. 20% down, you can make 7% plus cash on a brand new construction asset located near a military base or in a commuter town or in an underserved America, right? Each one of the submodels has its sex appeal. You can't participate in new construction anywhere else in the country for 35,000 or 37,000 down, including closing costs. I rest my case. Stay tuned. It's going to be another, I would assume, probably 5 or 6 parts to this series.
Richard, you have went over such a high level, exciting opportunities. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm beyond exciting to connect with you. You and I know each other for more than 10 years. We've been doing a lot of business. And you, Richard, you are a realistic pioneer, making a difference in people's lives, contributing to the housing market in a very good way, getting to rural areas, getting into a small town USA, bring the better quality of life. And you're helping our investors to enter this emerging market, low cost of entry, amazing growth, great cash flow with 20 to 25% down payment. Our investors could really follow your path. And the future is very bright. Let's go on to this journey. Richard, you're the man with the plan and you have a great vision. That's all I have to say. We're going to follow your coattail, myself and our network. This is a realistic investment opportunity. Get in early. This is amazing. Any last minute word before we conclude and come back in future episodes? Many more series of webinars we're going to do consistently for the foreseeable future. So any last minute thought? You have addressed so many things at a high level. It's so exciting.
No, I know we're going to go into more detail as we get into specifics with each one of these markets. One thing you hit on, which is really serving these communities, has been a learning experience in a good way. Like I didn't associate that aspect of getting into this business. And that's been powerful and awesome to help transform these areas, provide housing where it's needed, really see people's reactions. We hear quite often, I never expected to find this inventory here. But yeah, excited to share the opportunity with everyone. And we're going to try to get at least one of these series out a week that we guys can stay up to date on each one of these sub-markets, sub-models, but also not get overwhelmed. So stay tuned.
Very good. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.